sorry. Sometimes when I look at the United States and I compare it to other westernized countries or other developed countries, something like Japan, something like South Korea or Germany, France, the UK, even Canada. When I look at the United States and I look at the United States, and to some degree I feel like we're stuck in the Industrial Revolution, or we're trying to get back to the Industrial Revolution. We're trying to get back to that first part of the 20th century. And specifically, we're trying to get back to an economy of the 1940s or the 1950s, which that is never going to happen. Having the economy during the 1940s and 50s, it was good. We see it was good. We see it was robust. We see it was booming, similar to the 1920s. But we're never going to get back to an economy of the 40s and 50s, because a lot of people don't realize this. That was post-World War II era. The United States did so well because the world was destroyed. All of Europe was destroyed. Many of the countries in the Pacific was destroyed. Those were places where factories were, especially in Europe. So you have to understand, the world, we're no longer getting our goods from the rest of the world. The world is getting our goods from us because we have not been destroyed, except for Pearl Harbor. Sadly, that place got destroyed. Boom. It got bombed. Part of Hawaii got, you know what I mean. I'm not going to try to continue on with that. But you know what I mean? We're not going to get back to that. And I don't think we want to have another world war, because then the whole world would be destroyed. Quite literally. There ain't no doubt about that. But we're never going to get back to that. But sometimes why I feel like we're still stuck in the 20th century, like if you look at the railroad system, a great invention, a great idea, but it has not improved at all. It has not improved at all. Other countries have bullet trains now. People still use railroads in other countries. The infrastructure is still there, but it has died off. And it makes no sense why we want to improve that infrastructure. I think if we improve that infrastructure, especially in rural America, we would see small towns and communities come alive again. Because here in rural America, some of us gotta drive 2 or 3 hours to get to the grocery store. And we don't want to do that. They be trying to kill us. We're in these food deserts. We live in food deserts. But that's one example. The railroad system is a good invention, but we have never improved it. And it doesn't make no sense to me why we have inventions from the past, something of the 20th century. I know railroads are farther past the 20th century. They began in the 19th century. But you know what I mean? Like, how have we not improved past? How are we not improving for the 21st century lifestyle? And a part of that, I feel like, has to do with the people that are in office. They're just older people. And older people don't want change. And that's just the sad fact. And I'm not talking about we have to change everything. I think there's some things that are good that we can keep. I'm not saying we have to kill all tradition. We have to kill every single aspect of who we are in the United States. But we have people that lived in a time that was completely different from ours. We have baby boomers. I'm going to tell you something. Many of those people in office are baby boomers. They lived a completely different life from us. Their parents, many of them were GI soldiers. They got help from the government, GI bills. They got an education. They lived in a time period, like I said, that was economically well fit. The last baby boomers were born in 1959. They lived with parents who were economically well off, a majority of them. They lived in a time period where they didn't really have to worry about anything. They had an easy life. So for me, and I feel like they're afraid of change. And I don't understand why they wouldn't want to make laws to help other generations progress. I don't know why they're so afraid of renewable energy, some of them. I don't know why they're so afraid of universal health care. I don't know why they don't want to improve our railroad system or make cities walkable, make cities centered around people and not industries and not cars. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense to me. And I know a lot of people are like, well, if you don't like it, leave. But why does the United States have to be, why are we not progressing? See, when I look at the United States, when I look at this history, the beauty of America for me was, when we wanted progress, when we wanted change, we were going to do it. But why are we in the 21st century? And I had a teacher that said this once. She says that she sees the United States not progressing, but degressing. That we're just going back with our ideals. We're going back in our technology. Like, it doesn't make any sense to her how nothing's advancing. Nothing's really improving for the good of the people. It's just like we've gotten to this standstill. You know, we're so deadlocked in everything that we can't decide whether or not we want change. We can't decide whether or not we want improvement in some of the most simplest things. It doesn't make any sense to me. We say we're the wealthiest country in the world, but yet our railroad system is still garbage. We got Amtraks. You remember? I don't know. Y'all remember in the news when the Amtraks? Sometimes they be falling off the tracks. They be hurting people. People be dying. Like, how is that even? When I hear about bullet trains, I never really hear of any accidents. Maybe there are, but I never really hear any accidents happening with the bullet train. I don't know. I don't want to continue on ranting on because, you know, there's not too much to say. I just don't understand how the United States, I don't understand why people within the United States, how politicians, how those who are much wealthy, they scare the common man to change, to fear change, to hate change. Change is good in aspects. Improving is good. Improving our infrastructure. We got schools. Let me tell you, I've said this before. Schools built in the 20th century are not going to produce children for the 21st century. We got schools that don't. Baltimore was in the news talking about they don't even have air conditioner in their schools. Their kids got to stay home. Excuse me? That doesn't make no sense. Like, you're telling me you can't even give kids air conditioner? You can't build a school to at least make it cohabitable for the children, you know, comfortable for the children? I'm just so baffled by the United States sometimes. Like, we be looking at all the wrong things, talking about this is the issue, this is the issue. Maybe we're the issue. Maybe we as American citizens need to reevaluate our lives and figure out what are we doing wrong. Because I think the biggest thing we're doing wrong is not just accepting change or not accepting improvement and not figuring out why people don't want change or improvement. We have to go back to, what is it? We have to go back to the idea of innovation and progress, because us as a country, we're in the beginning part of the 21st century. And we're almost hitting 2030, and by the 2030 and 1930, I feel like had more progress than what we've made by 2030 today, if that makes sense. Like, I don't understand. I don't feel like anything. I feel like we're all stuck. We're all stuck. I just feel like we're all stuck for some reason. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is that's keeping us from being stuck. I don't know if it's our politicians instilling fear in us. I don't know if it's these phones that just make us, that are changing and we're not changing. I don't know what it is. I don't know, but we have to reevaluate ourselves. We have to reevaluate ourselves because it's just not making sense anymore. It's just not making sense anymore. And that's all I have to say. There's nothing else for me to say because I don't want to keep ranting because I'm not really going to get anywhere but continue to ask the same question. But that's all I have to say is we have to move past. We have to continue progressing. We have to see what can we improve for the better. That's all I have to say.